would like us to welcome Tom Nguyen to the stage. Born in Vietnam and raised in the heart of Southwest Kansas, Tam, or Tom Nguyen, ventured to pursue his dream of attending college on the East Coast in Massachusetts and New York. A graduate of Garden City High, in 2021, and at St. Joseph's University in New York with a bachelor's in philosophy earlier this May. His journey through college as a first-generation student was rife with challenges, yet his remarkable accomplishments stand as a testament, showcasing that age is not a barrier to making a difference. However, life took an unexpected turn when his father suffered a stroke, prompting Tom to return home and care for his father. This experience helped fuel his passion for community service, advocacy, and prevention. Now, at 21, Tom is the youngest city commissioner in the state of Kansas. He serves as a beacon of care in his hometown. His dedication to service reflects a deep-rooted commitment to making a meaningful difference in the lives of those around him. Please welcome Tom.
Hey, Tom Nguyen here. What a joy to speak to you guys today. I am so incredibly grateful for the KBC crew for their wonderful support today and leading up to today. I am so lucky. And also a special shout out to the Garden City Liberal Coalition. Thank you for being my cheerleaders and loving me unconditionally. Thank you. The final leg of Keynotes. Okay, hang in there. But before I begin though, I really need your help for my talk to make an impact, to make a difference. I ask you to open up your hearts to me as I share a piece of my heart to you. So let's start with a blank canvas. The thing is, all of you are going to die. Seriously, all of you are going to die, and this is probably the only thing that makes us all the same. Whether you're rich or poor, black or white, we are all going to die, and death does not discriminate. I came to this realization about 19 months ago. And to help with that story, I think we need to backtrack just a little bit back to when I was in high school. So I graduated in 2021, and I was a student of this very Asian American stereotypical dream. You have to go to college, you have to be a doctor, you have to be a lawyer, you have to make tons of money. And I truly believed that. So I busted my tail, leading student council, editor-in-chief of the yearbook, athletic trainer, basketball track, 2,000 hours of community service, graduated at the top of my class to get the heck out of Kansas. And I'm not sure if many of you have been to southwestern Kansas, but it stinks. Both figuratively and literally.
Smells like money.
A lot of money. And I wanted to go to school as far away as I could, and the furthest way you could get before hitting the coast, Massachusetts and New York. But for some reason, in the midst of all my dreams, I still felt a little pointless, worthless even. And as time went on, that feeling did not get any better. In January of 2023, I'm in Massachusetts. I just flew back from Christmas break. It's Sunday night, I'm hanging out with my friends, laughing, having a good time. My mom calls. And usually when your mom calls as you're hanging out with your friends, it is a major buzzkill. I ignore it. And then she calls again. And usually if mama calls twice, you better answer. So I pick up, and she says, hey, I think there's something wrong with your dad. And I'm like, okay, Mom, I just saw him this morning. And she says, no, he doesn't know who I am, and he doesn't know that he has a son. This is really weird because I'm an only child. Obviously, something was wrong. And as my mom rushed him to the hospital and they airlifted him to Colorado, in the meantime, I was busy packing my bags and I caught a plane to Denver the next morning. And growing up in my family, I was the only person who spoke English. I translated to buy a first car, to buy a first house, and all the countless doctor's appointments along the way. So when I get to the hospital and the cardiologist walks in, he says, your dad had a blood clot and he had a stroke. Yeah, my dad didn't have any old blood clot. He had an aortic thrombosis, a blood clot in his aorta. The doctor goes, well, treatment for this is usually surgery. And usually, there's a 75% mortality rate. What does that mean? It means that 3 out of 4 people who have the surgery die. Again, as the only English speaker in the family, there's no way in heck I was going to tell my parents that my dad had a chance of dying. What I do remember, though, is running down to the lobby, finding an empty conference room, locking myself out, pulling those three chairs, same chairs that you're sitting in, pushing together, and holding myself as tight as I could, laying there and bawling my eyes out, all alone in the dark. Thinking to myself, how could my dad, someone who never shed a single tear, someone who I thought was absolutely invincible, so I never heard complain, how could he have a chance of dying? And the next thought that came to my head, or rather selfish thought, was, my perfect life, this New York life, is ruined. My meticulously 5-year plan, gone. My dad slowly recovered, thankfully, but I did. Came home, I was depressed for months, barely getting up to eat or even shower, and I began to hate my dad. He tore down my dreams and made me come home to the middle of nowhere. I felt even more worthless than I did before. And then I began to start thinking about my own funeral, my own death. I asked myself, what did I accomplish in this short life? Was my life even worth living? Did I take much more than I gave? And these thoughts led me to self-medicate. For me, they come in different forms. Black, blue, purple. Sometimes people report them blowing up in your pockets. It always gave me the quickest buzz. Very trusting. Cancer sticks. But I'm not talking about cigarettes or vapes. I'm talking about our cell phones. I spent hours, 10, 12 hours a day, doom scrolling Instagram and playing video games. I mean, I don't really think it was my fault that I kept turning to these sensory pleasures. We all do. I think it's part of being human. But I think the problem was, I did not have a story that was bigger than what was suggested on my For You page, or other people's Snapchat stories, or even the quick buzz that I got from my real cigarettes. I knew I quickly needed a story to connect to, or else my funeral wasn't too far away. Somehow, some way, it's kind of like a gift from heaven fell into my lap. God said, hey, hang on there. You're going to love what's next. Gentry, director of young adult ministry from the Catholic Diocese of Dust City, he sends me a text. He says, hey, would you like to be a missionary this summer? And I'm like, are you talking like Puerto Rico, Guatemala? Because that would be really nice right now. He says, no, in the middle of the Heartland, in the middle of nowhere. Not really knowing what to expect, I said yes. So I dove deep into this program called Prayer in Action. And this summer, we spent a week in Scott City, Lakin, and Fowler, towns having a population of 2,000 to 7,000 people. We pulled 6-foot-tall weeds, we had rundown houses, and importantly, we cared for the people who couldn't do these tasks on their own. Interestingly enough, we painted houses the same way we wash dishes. What the heck does that mean? What does it mean to paint a house the same way you wash a dish? How many of you here wash a dish because your significant other nags you to, or because it's 1 a.m. and you are trying to eat a cup of cereal and there's no spoons left? Probably all of us. What if I told you that is not really the reason why you should wash the dishes? St. Mother Teresa says, wash the plate, not because it's dirty, nor because you were told to wash it, but because you love the person who will use it next. We wash the dishes not because we love washing the dishes, but because we love the person who will eat from it next. In the same way, we painted houses not because we loved being in the scorching hot sun, but because we love the people who lived in those homes. In very simple terms, go do the small and sometimes annoying things because you love the people who benefit from it. My dear friends, you were created for love and by love and to love. And when I say love, I don't mean the honeymoon googly eyes type of love. What I mean is to desire the absolute best for another person. Prior to Prayer in Action, I really thought I didn't have a story that was bigger than what was on my phone or my smokes. But in my lonely heart, I knew there was an ache for something much more. And in high school, I felt my advocacy group was this elite club with these goody two-shoes that makes people feel bad for seeking something to fulfill that ache in their heart. In my head, my prevention from needing days just meant a day out of school. But it finally occurred to me that the path of prevention does not end just at being a part of a group to boost my college resume or just putting up posters around my school. It ends at washing people's dishes so that they can have a bigger story to connect to, more than the quick hit stimulations that are always so fleeting. You and I, in a true path of prevention, are not in the business of changing lives. We are in the business of changing circumstances. You and I, each and every single one of you, are in the business of harvesting hope in our Heartland. Our friends who run to these cancer sticks, whether they're phones or alcohols or other forms, are addressing some ache, a deep loneliness in their hearts, just like I did. But what does that mean for you and I? It means calling our friends on a drive home. It means random coffee dates. It means inviting someone over for dinner. And it means doing the small, annoying, and sometimes inconvenient things so that it changes our friends' circumstances. You see, the place where people know you the most is the place where you can love people the best. Your homes, your friend groups, and the community that you live in. Together, we can shape communities worth living in, families worth being in, and ultimately, lives worth living. So I ask you, what hope will you harvest in our Heartland? Thank you.